Hey guys, welcome back to Gaming News on Clownfish Gaming. This is Neon. We got a lot of news for you this week. We're going to talk about Bungie laying off like 20 to 30% of their staff, something like that. Some crazy number of people and kind of the backlash, the fallout for that. We're going to talk about the state of Pow World right now. Is Pow World in a good place? Because we've been talking about Pow World. We're going to talk about Disney getting into video games heavily. And also Netflix and also Amazon. So now we have a bunch of people getting into games that normally aren't into the gaming space that much. We're going to talk about the video game strike. Voice actors are protesting Warner Brothers. They said that there's unregulated AI use at Warner Brothers Studio. Let's see, we got some other stories here. SNK versus Capcom. Chaos artwork is supposedly censored, according to Niche Gamer. Lots of other stories, but the big one, of course, is Bungie, which we're going to talk about. So if you guys haven't subscribed, please subscribe for more gameplay videos and gaming news. Check out the DREZZED podcast. We do interviews and got some more gaming news over there as well. This is funny. I had to pull this up for those of you not watching the video. For those of you not watching the video version of this podcast, I like this. This is a billboard showing a black and white Game Boy, and it says, "If you've played on this screen, it may be time to get screened for cancer," implying that you are old, implying that I am old, and you should get screened. Let's talk about Bungie, man. I don't even know where to start with this. They laid off 20 to 40% of their workers. It depends on who you ask. I've heard 17%. I've heard 34%. Lots of people laid off, including management. So this is coming from IGN. They said former Bungie worker claims studio faced insolvency without Sony's acquisition. So Bungie was in a very bad place. They almost went out of business. According to this article on IGN, Bungie misrepresented its finances and had significantly overextended itself when Sony acquired the studio for $3.6 billion in 2022. They said on GameFile, they said it was apparently bad enough that at least one source described it as a well-connected, or described themselves as a well-connected former worker. They went so far as to claim that Bungie faced dire consequences if the acquisition hadn't happened, saying that the alternative was insolvency. Their comments paint the picture of a studio that was struggling despite the success of Destiny and Destiny 2. Is Destiny 2 really that big? I don't know if it's that big. Due to supporting too many projects and other problems. Following the acquisition, GameFile sources claim Bungie repeatedly missed its financial targets, leading to roughly 100 employees being laid off in November of 2023. Second round of layoffs followed on Wednesday, impacting another 220 people. I've heard it's higher than that. I actually did a video on the Clownfish TV channel, and I heard it was higher than 17%. It was like 34%. It said another 155 are being integrated elsewhere into Sony Interactive. Bungie's also spinning out one of its incubation projects to form a new studio under the PlayStation banner. They said within Bungie, the layoffs have been anticipated for some time. Yeah, they said that if the final shape didn't do well, they're going to lay people off. And this is their statement. Pete Parsons, who is under attack right now because apparently he went out and bought himself some sports cars right before he laid people off, and they're not real happy. They're not real happy with him. The new path for Bungie. This morning, I'm sharing with all of you some of the most difficult changes we've ever had to make as a studio. Due to rising costs of development and industry shifts, as well as enduring economic conditions, it's become clear we need to make substantial changes to our cost structure and focus development efforts entirely on Destiny and Marathon. That means beginning today, 220 of our roles will be eliminated, 17% of our studio's workforce. Again, I've heard higher than that. Yeah, I'm not going to go into this whole thing, but basically we're gonna work with you and blah 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 blah. Of course, people are not happy at all. There's been a lot of pushbacks. There's been a lot of pushback. This is coming from Variety. Bungie layoffs highlight post-M&A issues for gaming industry as unions react. So M&A is mergers and acquisitions, right? And every one of these game companies now is part of a bigger corporation, right? Most of AAA gaming is owned by a large corporation, or it's backed by venture capital, or what I'm saying, and private equity, and it's a mess. And this is what happens when you consolidate all the power with just a handful of companies, right? And we've seen this time and time again. Hollywood's going through the same thing right now. There are a handful of studios like Disney that basically own everything. But they said Bungie's cutting of 220 roles adds more than 11,000 gaming layoffs to 2024. Much larger job losses have occurred at other companies after huge M&A deals. Multiple Microsoft studios have unionized as SAG-AFTRA strikes against major publishers. Well, we'll talk about that. The voice actors are on strike because they're afraid of being replaced by AI. And the thing is that AI I believe can replace video game voice actors much, much easier than it can replace a live actor or even a cartoon voice actor. Again, that's my opinion. But it's not looking, I don't think it's looking too good for them. What will happen is they might get a little bit of what they want, but I think that the studios will use the economic reality to cut back on the number of games that are being developed, and how they're going to save money is just be like, yeah, we're not making games, guys. They said the latest company to experience layoffs is feeling that pain in a particularly intense year for the gaming industry. Pete Parsons wrote on Wednesday, he revealed a restructuring plan that would eliminate 220 roles. Again, I've heard higher than that. He summarized rising costs of development and industry shifts and enduring economic conditions. They said the original developers of the first Halo games for Microsoft's Xbox consoles, Bungie, has a complex history of operating both independently and under huge corporations. And they eventually bought, Microsoft bought them. They took Halo and then they sold the rest off. And Destiny's not doing nearly as well. I don't think it's doing nearly as well as Halo. Halo is not in a very good place right now either. But you can see, like, it's all a bunch of multi-billion-dollar corporations that own most of the game developers. Do they have Embracer on here? Embracer bought a bunch of them up too. So it says, popular as Destiny is not part of the big five online games that rake in billions of dollars each year, including Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft, Call of Duty, and Grand Theft Auto. Actually, I didn't even know people were playing Destiny. I had people in the comments on our Clownfish TV video saying that they're still playing Destiny, but we played it, I think, when it first came out for the PS4. And we actually had the Destiny, the white PS4. That's actually the PS4 that we have, is the white one, the Destiny unit, which I guess it goes for a lot of money, or it did go for a lot of money at some point, but I wasn't into it. I couldn't get into it. I don't know. Your miles may vary, but I wasn't into it. Yeah, so it's just, we're going to see a lot of implosion, I think, because none of this is sustainable. It really isn't. It's they're dumping way more money into these games than they're getting in return. They're hoping, I think, to get another huge hit, like a live service hit, and it's not working for them. Bungie reportedly shelving the next Destiny indefinitely following another brutal wave of layoffs. So yeah, they had a Destiny 3. They said that they might just shelve it. They said, weighing in on recent reports and saying sources familiar with Bungie's plans, Jason Schreier claims Destiny 3 wasn't canceled because it wasn't actually in development yet. So a lot of people saying it was canceled, a lot of people saying they're just not going to do Destiny 3. Schreier added that the project was codenamed Payback, which had been making the rounds since the report leaked earlier this year. It was a totally different spin-off project that was canceled a while before these layoffs. So I think they're looking at Destiny and they're like, it's just not making money. But I think we can talk about the situation with the voice actors. Support the Associated Press. Now I'm good. Sorry, guys, I'm good. Yeah, so video game performers are protesting unregulated AI use at Warner Brothers, and this is going to impact all of these major studios because that's who they're striking against. The major studios, like Microsoft, Sony, all those companies. Instead, we made deals with studios and streamers. We made deals without a strike and with major record labels. For some reason, the video game companies refuse to work with us. And that's why we're going on strike. It's going to be their undoing. So they're flat out saying that they know that going on strike is going to be another blow against the video game industry. The thing is, you don't need voice actors in video games because, believe it or not, I'm not knocking the good voice actors, right? But believe it or not, we got by without voice actors in video games for decades. I think AI, you can make a better case for AI with video games because of it being more interactive. Being able to generate dialogue on the fly, I think makes a lot more sense than it would in a movie or even a cartoon show, something that's scripted, right? They said, yeah, they're going on strike against Activision, Warner Brothers, Walt Disney. They said signs up, games down. LA is a union town. Jeez, that's kind of cringy. The crowd chant on Thursday morning. They said, yeah, they're talking about Call of Duty. Said members of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees and the Writers Guild of America attended the SAG-AFTRA strike. Union leaders have billed AI as an existential crisis for performers. What they're going to do is they're going to lay you off, or they're not going to call you, because most actors are freelance. They're gig to gig. They're not full-time employees. If they're laying off their executives at Bungie, which I guess they are laying off executives at Bungie, they're not going to have any qualms against getting rid of voice actors. I'm just telling you how it's going to work. I don't think it's going to go the way that you think it's going to go, but if you can think you can get more money, fantastic. Good for you. Let's talk about people getting into video games and some of these companies that they're striking against getting into video games, and they really don't know that much about video games. So a rumor coming from My Nintendo News is that gaming is set to be a big part of Disney's D23 Expo next week. Now, they threw all kinds of money at Fortnite, which I thought was surprising given that they don't own it. But yeah, Disney has owned video games before and they've blown them up. Club Penguin, they blew it up. Disney Infinity, fantastic game. They blew it up. So here we are with Fortnite and Epic Games. They said Disney's going to be holding its annual D23 event next Friday. All eyes will be focused on the next big projects from Disney. This year's event, though, is rumored to be a place to place greater emphasis on gaming than in previous years. It's not clear what the House of Mouse has in store, but a teaser for the Fortnite and Marvel collaboration seems likely, as it's coming just a few days after the D23 event. Other projects that could be showcased include Star Wars Outlaws, which is whatever, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, again, whatever. Hopefully there will be some surprises, but yeah, they're going to push video games because they know that's where their audience is. They know that's where teens are now. They're playing video games. They're doing TikTok. They're doing Fortnite. They're not watching Disney Channel, and Disney's going to try to monetize that audience wherever they can. I think the whole Fortnite thing is kind of cringy, personally, but look, we got Iron Man standing next to Dr. Doom. It's kind of like the Parent Trap, right? Because Robert Downey Jr. is supposed to be playing both. So yeah, we got Disney ramping up their video games. We've got Amazon announcing its Prime Gaming August 2024 lineup. So they said they're going to, Prime Gaming is a benefit of Amazon Prime membership. Does anybody actually do that? I've never done that. I think when the Fire TV stick first came out, they had some games that I bought. I think I bought like Sonic CD, and you could play them with a controller. And then they actually had a controller that was like ridiculously expensive, and it just turned out wasn't a very good console. Now they're selling these like console-less Xbox bundles or whatever. It's like $80 and you get like a controller and their Fire TV stick. But it said the highlights include SteamWorld Heist, Deus Ex, Loop Hero, various Tomb Raider games. 22 games are set to hit Prime Gaming in August. So these are older games that you can play through Amazon Prime. I don't really care. Gravity Circuit's very good though. Oh, they have Gravity Circuit. Yeah, Gravity Circuit's very good. Kraken Academy, Baldur's Gate 2. Anything else on here that looks good? Arcade Paradise. I think I remember hearing about that one. But yeah, so that's Amazon, and then we got Netflix's gaming efforts. Remember Netflix? They were going to get into video games. That's going to be their next big thing. So they're making a big push into video games. The company dabbled in games with Black Mirror Bandersnatch and Carmen Sandiego, but they haven't really done much. But they said, yeah, they're going to be watching their efforts and seeing where things are at. And I don't know. Netflix, I mean, people don't really think about Netflix for games, but people don't really think about Disney for video games either. And here we are. They're just all tripping over each other trying to get into the video game space as AAA gaming is imploding, which is kind of funny. And it's like, you guys are way too late. This reminds me of like Atari and Nintendo back in the day. We had all these companies that normally didn't make video games suddenly wanting to get into video games because it was what the kids were into, the youths were into. So let's talk about the state of the market right now. This is Matt Piscatella, and he's got the Circana projected U.S. spending on video games. He's also got the top games for June. He said that it's fallen 5% compared to a year ago. The first half of spending grew 1% compared to the first half of 2023. I think a lot of people are not buying the AAA titles. I think a lot of people are playing older games, and that's one of the double-edged swords, I guess, of the live service game is it's always updated, right? So people don't really have to go buy new games all the time. It's not like Nintendo or Sega where you go buy new cartridges. And we're going to talk about Sega, by the way. There's a new game coming out for the Sega Genesis. He said content spending dropped 2% in June. The U.S. video game projected total market consumer spending, 13 months. Let's see, change versus year over year. It's dropping, basically. It's dropping. Now, here are the top 20 best-selling premium games in the U.S. Number 1 is Elden Ring. Number 2 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, which I thought wasn't very good, but whatever. People are going to buy it because it's Call of Duty, which I'm not into. I don't like Call of Duty that much. Sorry. Kingdom Hearts, the big Kingdom Hearts. Integrim masterpiece, is that what we're calling it now? Like all the Kingdom Hearts. Shin Megami Tensei 5, Vengeance. They've been advertising the hell out of that. Hogwarts Legacy is still number 5. And we're talking June 2024, and Hogwarts Legacy is over Minecraft. That is surprising. MLB. Let's see, we got Luigi's Mansion 2 HD on Switch. That's new. EA Sports, Sea of Thieves, Helldivers 2. Hogwarts Legacy is above Helldivers. Ghost of Tsushima. I think that's the PC version. Spider-Man 2. Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door. This is a digital sales. Digital sales not included for marked titles. Okay. Mortal Kombat 1, which I did not think people were still playing, but apparently they still are. You have UFC 5, Mario Kart 8, Elder Scrolls Online, Dragon's Dogma 2, and Street Fighter 6. I thought for sure Street Fighter 6 would be over Mortal Kombat 1, but they have new DLC for that. But yeah, this is really surprising. All the attempts to cancel Hogwarts Legacy, and it's still outselling so many other games, newer games. And it's actually outselling Minecraft at this point. Go figure. So let's talk about some Genesis. I just mentioned this. I thought this is really cool. This is a ZPF. Megacat Studios is doing a retro shooter. I know Yuzo Koshiro, I think, is doing one too. But this is awesome. I love it when they make new games for old consoles. And the Genesis had a lot of great shmups. They said it's in development for the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive, Windows PC, and now both Xbox consoles and Switch, thanks to its smashing success Kickstarter that raised over 1,000% over their funding goal. What is this? I gotta look at this. Let's see what we got here. $200,000. Made by the designer and developer of Tanzer. The game can best be described as being good old-fashioned horizontal shooter, known in the community as a shmup. And you're going to get a cartridge, a box of cartridge, and a manual, just like the good old days. No DLC. This looks pretty cool. There's the music. Okay, do we have gameplay? This looks pretty good, actually. I might have to back this one. See, this is now we're talking my language here. Speaking my language. This looks really good, especially for Genesis. I don't know how big this cartridge is, but Mega Cat actually does really good stuff, and they're here in the Pittsburgh area, but they do really good retro stuff. God, those graphics are gorgeous. That's awesome. So yeah, if you want to check that out, check it out on Kickstarter. What else have we got here? Some controversy since we're on Niche Gamer. SNK versus Capcom SBC Chaos artwork censored for Western audiences. Now, see, I hadn't heard about this. They said the official artwork for SNK versus Capcom SBC Chaos has been censored for Western audiences, covering up cleavage of Mai and cropping out the body of the bikini armor-clad Princess Athena. Oh yeah, I see what you're talking about there. Got to cover up her boobs. Now that's what she's known for, right? King of the Fighters, her boobs, they bounce, they're jiggly, and they censored it. Yeah. Well, Princess Athena is just a matter of cropping. It appears SNK took the initiative to alter the image of Mai in order to make her appearance less lewd, in order to suit Western sensibilities. This time, we're uncertain if any in-game content has been censored beyond the artwork used for promotion. It's available for Windows via Steam, coming to GOG, Switch, and PS4. Yeah, so this game's been around for a while. This is what I don't understand. Why do we have to censor games that are decades old? You know what I'm saying? Like, Square keeps doing this too. Every time they bring out like a Final Fantasy game or something, they go back and they fix it. They fix it. They have to fix it because for current audiences, they're going to be offended by the cleavage. It's so stupid. But yeah, there it is. There it is. I am glad that these older games are getting released. Hey, look at that. You got a Tidy Cats ad on the website. It's because like crazy blue hair cat ladies are the ones that are having a problem with the boobs, I guess. I don't know what that means. Let's see, what else do we got here? We got some other gaming news. Oh yeah, we'll talk about ROM hacking. We're not actually going to do any ROM hacking, but they said that yeah, they're shutting it down. They're just going to do news, I guess. 20-year-old ROM hack site that was a treasure trove of Pokemon fan games and JRPG translations winds down after achieving almost everything it wanted to do. Yes, it's romhacking.net. Why are they doing this? Probably because Nintendo's crazy when it comes to lawsuits. It said major ROM hack website romhacking.net is winding down its operations effective immediately. It will shift to a read-only format, and further submissions aside from news will be closed. It's been running for almost 20 years and has until now provided a place to share ROM hacks and game translations. There have been new submissions as recently as yesterday for everything from Pokemon Emerald to Fire Emblem The Binding Blade in Suikoden. This is come from Games Radar, by the way. In a new statement by the site's founder, Nightcrawler, it's confirmed that for various reasons it's time to wind things down. Yeah, probably lawsuits. Because we know Nintendo has been going crazy trying to shut down any Pokemon fan games. If I had to guess, Nightcrawler says that romhacking.net achieved almost everything we set out to do and far exceeded it, transforming ROM hacking from something that was once niche and fragmented to global and centralized, all while making it much more accepted by the mainstream. With that, of course, came an increased level of popularity, in which case it was a double-edged sword. They said copyright, there it is. Copyright pressures increased dramatically with takedowns and legal burden. The site had shifted from serving mostly contributing humans to bots and overzealous people abusing resources. They drowned everybody else out. The need for the site has lessened over time. There are now many options for community discussions, open source projects, and file storage across the internet. Yeah, the internet's definitely changed. I don't think it's changed for the better, and we've talked about this in Clownfish TV videos, that we've centralized so much power with social media companies that once you give them that power, that they just keep taking and taking and taking. You're not going to get it back. I mean, I wish, a couple of years ago I said we need to go back to hosting our own websites and kind of going back to the old internet, and I don't know if that's possible. I really don't, because Google is making it almost impossible to find websites now. They are generating AI snippets Very few people were probably clicking on the outbound links to go to websites. I think they're just, listening to Google because Google knows best. Nightcrawler said they're looking to wind things down at the end of last year. An unnamed group apparently offered to help keep things going. Nightcrawler alleges that their personal details were shared and secret, deceitful plots have been made to cut me out. Well, that sucks. We are immediately ceasing all related site operations. Images and downloads will be available for as long as Dark Soul, FC and Chill, Calico will allow. The site's forum will remain available, but Discord and Twitter affiliations have ended. They're just like shutting this thing down. It's truly the end of an era for the classic site, and the impact is being felt by users already. Absolute shame. This was the best way to follow fan translations. So back in the day, Trials of Mana, the only way you could get that was actually the only way you could play it in English was a fan translation. I know they had fan translations of like Final Fantasy 2 and 3. I had those. I played through those. And it was fantastic. I don't think they came from romhacking.net though. I'm going to be honest. I actually was into the emulation scene before the site existed. Like I started getting into the fan translations and the emulation scene back in the 90s. I'm not even kidding. I want to say like 97, 98. And, I followed a lot of sites that just no longer exist. I mean, it's just, it's another piece of the old internet that's being kind of flushed away, right? So let's talk about Pow World and accusations of it being a dead game. I don't think it's a dead game. It has a hell of a lot more players than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has, so there's that. Ars Technica has this. Is Pow World a dead game? Who cares, says the game's developer. Now, they just teamed up with Sony, and we did a video on that earlier this week, and I have concerns about that. I'm concerned that eventually you're going to need a PSN account to log into Pow World, because this has been like this huge indie hit, right? But they're teaming up to do entertainment, and I think they're trying to take on Nintendo head-to-head, right? But I don't know how it's going to go for them. I said maybe players will want more new ideas rather than live service. So Pow World's head of community has a radical idea. Stop caring about how many people are playing a game at the same time as you. It's pitched mostly at developers and games media, but John Buckley also wants players to let go of the dead game mentality. Now, is this Bucky, who is the community manager? Who cares if there's only 5 people playing it? Just enjoy yourself. Just enjoy the games. I don't think it needs to be any more complex than that, he said in an interview on the Going Indie YouTube channel. Pocket Pair in particular has reason for panic if they subscribe to the mentality that active online players are the key benchmark for modern gaming. The game launched in early access in January at rocket speed, selling 5 million copies and reaching 1.3 million concurrent Steam players, surpassing Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, it was crazy. By February 1st, the game has sold 19 million copies between Xbox and Steam and was the biggest third-party game launch yet on Xbox's Game Pass service. Given that the creature-catching survival game with a notably chill approach to intellectual property, is that what they're saying about it? Has so far managed to avoid being sued into oblivion by Pokemon, most would consider it a success, and yet gaming sites and streaming personalities made sure to note that Pow World suffered Steam's biggest ever 2-week drop by mid-February, or is looking like a dead game. As streamer Asmongold said into the microphone around the same time, a dead game? There's 90,000 people on. Yeah, Bucky, he is Bucky. Okay, so Buckley said that they've been pushing back. They said it's fine to take a break from games. Now, they just signed this deal with Sony, and they're going to do anime, and they're going to do merchandise, and they're going to do all stuff. So I think a lot of it is just Pow World does not have the brand awareness being an indie title. Basically, it's all been word of mouth and internet drama that has propelled this game to the top, but it doesn't have anything to support it in between updates, right? It's not like Pokemon where there's all kinds of anime and movies and manga and fruit snacks and everything you can possibly think of, but I think they're working on that. That being said, I am worried if they do over-commercialize it like Pokemon, that it's going to become as bland as Pokemon. Some people say the game is very bland. I think it's a lot of fun, personally. But that being said, I haven't touched it in a couple of months. So, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they said in the advent of live service games meant to pull in more money over time through subscriptions and microtransactions has made games something that publishers, especially large kind, never want to see die. And that's the problem. People are playing, it's not really a problem, but people are playing old games, right? They create consistent revenue and they're looking at GTA Online or until recently Destiny and Destiny 2. So Bucky said, I don't really think it serves anyone to push gamers to just play games the same game day in, day out. Well, some games like League of Legends or an MMO are built to avoid burnout, whereas what we're seeing now is a trend of, I won't necessarily say who's trying to push it, but a lot more people are trying to push gamers to play games that aren't really designed to be played for months on end. Going back to the beginning of the video, going back to Activision, going back to Sony, going back to Microsoft, going back to these big conglomerates that, you know, they want you to subscribe to all your games. They don't want you to buy a disc and own the game. They want you to constantly be looking to them for updates, for DLC, to subscribe to games just like Netflix. Like your game is like a Netflix subscription. And that's, you know, Netflix is getting in the games too. And I guarantee you a lot of it's going to be live service because they're going to want you to pay forever, right? You're supposed to pay forever. Pow World suggests that people like new things. They said, while Pow World allows for online play, its huge concurrent player numbers were not the result of its developer carefully cultivating fear of missing out among players. They said at the peak of its success, it was more about the devs giving something new to a community that had been habitually starved of something truly new. Yeah, that was it. Pow World basically gave people an unofficial Pokemon game that lets you do things that you could not do in the sanctioned official Pokemon games. For better or for worse, you could kill and eat your pals. You could kill them. You could shoot them. You could carry firearms around. And not them saying that Pokemon should go down that road, but it was like a sandbox experience. It was very different from Pokemon, but it's everything that I think Pokemon players wanted Pokemon to be, but that they wouldn't do it. Now, I do believe because Pow World came out, Pokemon is going to be forced to evolve. You know, pardon the pun there, but I think they're going to be forced to evolve, and I think they're going to have more of a sandbox feel to future Pokemon titles, or there might even be a Pokemon, you know, a full-blown MMO. I could see that happening. Nintendo, I mean, they would, if Nintendo were smarter, and look, they're pretty smart. They've stayed in the game for a very long time, but if Nintendo were smart, they would do an Animal Crossing MMO, and they would do a Pokemon MMO. And they would milk people for money month after month, year after year. But, you know, they don't do that. So I guess I got to give them props because we're talking about these, you know, corporations just trying to take people for a ride. But there we go. I don't know if I have anything else for you in this episode or not. Lots of news, lots of things going on. Yeah, the biggest news, of course, being Bungie. So we already covered that. And I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Please subscribe. Please check out the audio version of Clownfish TV for pop culture news. Subscribe to the Clownfish gaming channel for more gameplay videos, and check out the DREZZED podcast where you'll find this content and other content out on Spotify, iTunes, where you find podcasts. We'll talk later.